Nearly 3/4 of its surface lies beneath a blue patchwork of seas and oceans. For us, an alien realm we've barely begun to explore. Extraordinary life forms live within these depths, each shaped by a world of immense variety and extremes. The oceans that encircle each continent have their own stories to tell, secrets to uncover, and characters to meet. This is a journey into their beautiful but fragile world. Where the struggle to survive produces enchanting elegance, breathtaking teamwork, and spellbinding encounters that reveal the magic of the Big Blue. The great African continent, a land of untamed wilderness, of predators and their prey. But the familiar faces of the plains are only part of this story. For this vast landmass is sandwiched between two colossal oceans that crash into its sides to create some of the wildest coastlines on Earth. From warm water reefs of the Indian Ocean to cool corners of the mighty Atlantic, life can be abundant, diverse, and armed to the teeth. Each year, the hunters take center stage in one of nature's greatest spectacles, a migration to rival the scale and drama of any on the planet. As billions of sardines join forces to do battle with an army of predators that lies in wait. At its southwestern tip, Africa dips a toe into the chilly waters of the Atlantic Ocean. The productive coastline of the Cape Peninsula has long made it an attractive home for those wishing to make a living from the sea. Cape Town's European history began in 1652, when a trading post was established here for ships en route to the Far East in a quest for exotic goods. The brightly painted houses of the Malay Quarter remain a colorful reminder of a dark chapter of the city's history. Many of its residents are descended from slaves who were brought here from Southeast Asia during the 18th and 19th centuries. Today, Cape Town is a melting pot for cultures from around the globe, but local traditions still have pride of place. The busy working harbor is at the heart of city life. Since its construction in 1860, it has offered protection from the Cape's powerful winter storms and a stop-off point for all manner of seafarers. The Victoria and Alfred waterfront has become South Africa's most visited tourist destination. But its cafes, bars, and souvenirs are not the only attraction of the Cape. The city is only a stone's throw from the peninsula's many coves and beaches. The perfect hangout for the next generation of ocean explorers. But one beach is reserved for the locals. Boulders Beach is a rare nesting site for the only penguin species to breed in Africa. To stay cool in the strong sun, African penguins have fewer feathers than their Antarctic cousins and spend most of their day feeding at sea. After a hard day's fishing, the first job is to dry off. Although, as with all beaches, everyone wants the best spot. Dawn at the Cape. These waters are among the most storm-swept on the planet. But the morning's flat calm provides perfect conditions for an encounter with one of Africa's most fabled residents. 8 kilometers offshore, low outcrops of rock provide a perfect haul-out for thousands of Cape Fur seals. But this particular piece of real estate lies in the middle of a very dangerous neighborhood. A deep channel runs between two of the islands. It's known as Shark Alley. The presence of so many seals makes this narrow stretch of water a magnet for great white sharks. And divers looking for the encounter of a lifetime with the planet's most feared predator. An unmistakable profile sets pulses racing. The shark may have homed in on the bait's oily slick from 5 kilometers away. Great whites are known for their curiosity and will readily approach boats or investigate a fisherman's catch. But nature provides few free lunches. And the great white is perfectly equipped to chase down large, fast-moving prey. The torpedo-shaped body is propelled by powerful tail muscles that can produce speeds of 40 kilometers an hour, which the sharks use to ambush seals from below. Unlike most sharks, great whites are also partially warm-blooded. Maintaining their swimming muscles at 5 degrees higher than the surrounding water keeps them primed for action in the cold waters of the Cape. But many secrets still surround this top ocean predator. Sharks tagged in South Africa have surprised researchers by reappearing as far away as Australia. And we know little about their reproduction, social lives, or intelligence. The great white maintains a firm grip on our imagination, but hopefully will not always remain so mysterious and frequently misunderstood. "1,500 kilometers from Africa's east coast, and just 4 degrees south of the equator, the Seychelles archipelago lies bathed in the warm waters of the Indian Ocean. At first sight, this outpost of tranquil-looking islands could not seem more different to the hustle and bustle of cities like Cape Town. But just beyond the surf line lies a sprawling metropolis that's as busy and congested as any concrete jungle. In these warm, shallow waters, the reef never sleeps. Corals rise like skyscrapers, creating a three-dimensional home for a cosmopolitan community of fish and invertebrates. A mantis shrimp keeps an eye on the morning rush hour. Most reef fish are only active during daylight hours and rise early to fit in a hectic schedule of foraging and mingling alongside thousands of other species. Some catch a conveyor belt of currents to commute to their own particular feeding grounds. The reef's movers and shakers hang out wherever the currents promise a delivery of fast food. Though a maze of coral bolt holes and alleyways is never far away, in case somebody should try to make lunch out of them. To survive on the reef, you must be prepared for life in the fast lane. But the corals that form the fabric of the reef lay its foundations imperceptibly slowly. The rock-like corals are actually colonies of tiny, soft-bodied animals, known as polyps. The polyps convert carbon dioxide and calcium in the seawater into an external skeleton of tough calcium carbonate that, with each generation, grows ever skyward. Some coral species form plate-like shapes. Others become intricately branched. Occupying just 1% of the ocean floor, their outstretched arms provide a home for 25% of all marine species, most of whom live nowhere else on Earth. For many reef dwellers, cooperation is the key to success. Clownfish will chase away the anemone's predators in return for protection from its stinging tentacles, to which they are immune. But other forms of teamwork are more fleeting. This emperor angelfish is looking to lose the crowds and find time for a bit of pampering. It's searching for one of the reef's hardest working residents. Fortunately, today, there's no queue. The blue-striped cleaner wrasse makes its living by picking dead skin and parasites from the body and gills of larger fish. The wrasse gets a meal, and the angelfish gets a refreshing body scrub in all those hard-to-reach places. Most of the world's coral reefs are found within the planet's tropical zones, between 30 degrees north and south of the equator. Here, the delicate balance of conditions that the corals require to grow is just right. The water must be between 16 and 30 degrees Celsius, and clear enough to allow sunlight to penetrate. The coral polyps contain a specialized type of algae that lives within their tissues and uses the sun's energy to produce sugar, just like plants. The polyps benefit from this boost of energy, and the algae gets to live within the coral's walled fortress, completing this perfect partnership by recycling the polyp's waste products. Strong currents are also vital to the reef, to sweep a continuous stream of minute planktonic creatures into the polyp's waiting tentacles. The currents must be laden with food, but not too many other nutrients that would encourage the growth of algae that would steal sunlight from the corals below. Any algae on the surface of the reef is kept in check by grazers, such as the powder blue surgeonfish. Their name is inspired by a protective spine near their tail, which is as sharp as a surgeon's scalpel. Royal angelfish use their elongated mouths to delicately pick algae and invertebrates from between the coral's branches. The coral's tough outer casing protects it from many would-be predators, but not all. The semicircle angelfish nips at the soft polyps tucked inside the stony structures. Parrotfish are rather more destructive. They use their parrot-like beaks to tear off chunks of coral, which are pulverized by powerful throat teeth. The parrotfish digests the algae contained within the polyp's tissues, and the coral's limestone skeleton is excreted as fine particles, otherwise known as sand. Some parrotfish can produce up to 90 kilograms of coral particles each year, which wash up to create the white sandy beaches which we find so irresistible. Resembling images from a storybook, the 115 islands that make up the Seychelles archipelago have long attracted the attention of seafarers. These specks of dry land form an area the size of a small city, but are scattered across a swathe of the Indian Ocean larger than South Africa. This isolation has helped to preserve the island's incredible natural riches. Beyond the beaches lies a paradise for more than 700 species of plants. 10% of them are found only on these islands. The need to conserve this unique ecosystem was recognized by the first French settlers, who arrived here in the 18th century. Today, more than half of the Seychelles is a protected nature or marine reserve. Soldierfish patrol their corner of this one. They're armed with sharpened spines and scales, but it's their synchronized shoals that resemble military formations that have given them their name. Unlike many reef fish, the soldiers are at their most active after dark, their large eyes providing enhanced night vision. Sweet lips appear as though they've been tipped from a box of confectionery. There are several different varieties, each with its own distinctive packaging. From pajama-like stripes to bold zebra print. All species do share one thing in common: a set of large rubbery lips that they use to suck up small fish and crustaceans. In a reef full of predators, being on the small side means that you must keep a constant eye out for your larger neighbors. Although less so if they can't see you. This 3-centimeter-long ghost goby does its best to mimic the sea pen on which it lives. This is a soft coral, formed from a colony of polyps that do not produce a shell and assume different roles within the fern-like structure. The goby is grateful for the shelter, although it can offer little in return, aside from the quiet company. A coral reef may take thousands of years to reach maturity, but in the Seychelles, a much younger reef is flourishing, having been given a bit of a head start in life. The twin barges are a wreck-cum-reef formed from the empty shells of 2 ships, deliberately sunk to provide a home for marine life. These artificial reefs interrupt the currents and create a sheltered feeding ground for small plankton-eating fish and their many predators. The wreck is soon colonized by a thick crust of algae, sponges, and coral. Its pitted surface provides a perfect hideaway for those who like to avoid the dangers of the open ocean. Striped eel catfish enjoy the protection of the wreck's solid walls. This is the only catfish species to live within coral reefs. By sticking together, the juveniles increase their chances of reaching adulthood. Every corner has been converted to a home. Glassfish stay close to the wreckage and each other. The shimmering clouds they create can confuse predators. This is their only defense in a world where being a small fish puts you on just about everyone's menu. But the predators have some tricks of their own. A patch of seaweed or an octopus. A rock or a scorpionfish waiting for its next meal to come too close. But not all of Africa's inhabitants are so concerned about attracting attention. In the cold waters of the South African Cape, billions of sardines are about to make their presence felt. As they embark on a perilous journey that will draw some of Africa's deadliest hunters right into their path. A wintry sunrise awakens South Africa's wild coast. "200 kilometers of untamed wilderness that fringes the country's eastern cape. Although these rugged surroundings have not deterred the local cattle from claiming their fair share of the beaches. In June and July, everyone is on the lookout for signs of the year's biggest natural event. The swirling shoals of sardines have started their migration away from the waters of the Cape and are headed this way. Each fish is only 20 centimeters long, but the shoals they form are so large they're said to be visible from space. Wherever the shoals are sighted, a wave of sardine fever is sure to strike the local community, who will soon be able to scoop sardines from the surf. The sardines' home range lies close to the southernmost tip of Africa. But for a few months each year, they expand their territory by moving along the coast towards rich feeding grounds in the Indian Ocean, 1,000 kilometers to the north. A fast, warm, south-moving current squeezes a narrow strip of cold water tight against the African coastline. It's this cool water corridor that the sardines use to make their annual pilgrimage. But the confines of this channel leave them imprisoned within shallow coastal waters that offer little room to maneuver or evade the countless predators that are in hot pursuit. Life in Africa's waters can be highly abundant. But like all marine environments, it can also be extremely vulnerable. Coral reefs across the globe are under pressure from a world that may be changing more rapidly than they can adapt to. "60% of the planet's reefs are under threat from pollution, overfishing, and coastal development. The conditions for reef growth are so finely balanced that increases in the water's temperature or decreases in its clarity could also make it impossible for the polyps to survive. The race is on to understand these threats and protect against them. If we're to ensure that our reefs don't fade away, taking their colorful inhabitants with them. Hawks-billed turtles also face an uncertain future. They earn their name from their narrow head and bird-like beak, which they use to probe crevices in the reef in search of food. They specialize in sponges and include many species in their diet that would be toxic to other creatures. Their striking tortoiseshell carapace offers them protection from predators such as sharks, but also makes them a target of fishermen. Our penchant for this beautiful shell, as well as for the turtle's meat and eggs, has driven many populations near to extinction. After wandering the planet for the past 50 million years, this graceful ocean traveler is now hovering dangerously close to the edge. On the plains of South Africa's Eastern Cape, the future looks much brighter for little lions, provided they can master the art of hunting. A branch certainly makes a cooperative training partner. But there's nothing like a live opponent, or getting one over on your siblings. Play fighting hones skills that these pint-sized predators will one day need to take down prey many times their own size. But a little more practice first probably wouldn't hurt. The apprentice hunters may look harmless, but the wildebeest and zebras remain vigilant. They're used to rubbing shoulders with their predators and know that those who let their guard down rarely get to repeat the mistake. The need to stay close to the local watering hole helps keep the savanna's community so close-knit. But when the coast is clear, it's the perfect time to slip in for some liquid refreshment. South Africa's coastal waters are not only renowned for the annual sardine migration, they're also home to some of the continent's most vibrant coral reefs. Sodwana Bay is a haven for more than 1,000 species of fish that make up a rainbow-colored cast. But such dazzling designs are not just for show. For reef fish, color plays a vital role in communication, mate selection, and defense. A grouper tries to hide behind leopard-like spots. False eye spots are just one way to put potential predators off their aim. It's thought that fish see colors very differently to humans and can detect wavelengths of light invisible to our own eyes. Colors that appear garish to us may in fact allow them to melt into the background of corals, rock, and ocean. For the reef's flamboyant residents, their kaleidoscopic world is full of messages and lively conversations, in a language of color that we're only just beginning to understand. Above the reef, a jellyfish performs a lonely ballet. But any small creatures that become entangled in its trailing tentacles will find themselves in a deadly, stinging embrace. The bodies of jellyfish are largely translucent, but algae living within their tissues can add strange hues that complete their otherworldly appearance. At the coast, the sardine spotters have located the first of this year's shoals. It's the news these dive teams have been waiting for. Each year, divers from all corners of the globe arrive here hoping for an underwater adventure to eclipse all others. Battling through the breakers, they prepare to join the hunt. A few hundred meters from the beaches of South Africa's east coast, an army of predators has mobilized, homing in on millions of sardines streaming north along the coast. Common dolphins lead the charge. 20,000 may join the hunt, teaming up into superpods that can be 5,000 strong. Together, they sweep along the coast until they find the sardines, or the sardines find them. Overhead, Cape gannets circle expectantly. They're thought to time their breeding cycle so that their young have fledged by the time the sardines have arrived and can take advantage of the feast. The divers will have front row seats for the battle that lies ahead. Far below, bronze whaler sharks take their positions. The dolphins catch their breath in the quiet before the storm. "40 tons of humpback whale clears the water. These ocean giants are heading to polar feeding grounds and won't be distracted even by the potential feast on offer. That's where the good news for the sardines ends. Storm clouds herald the arrival of the migration. Wave upon wave of sardines huddle into shoals that can be 7 kilometers long, 1.5 kilometers wide, and 30 meters deep. Their combined mass may exceed that of Africa's great wildebeest migration. As the sardines roll in, the predators that have worked so hard to get here can finally reap their reward. As if controlled by magnetic forces, the sardines' choreographed display confuses their pursuers and prevents them locking sights on any one individual. Together, they stand, but as the predators know, divided, they will fall. The dolphins are the master tacticians. Working together, they harass the sardines, blowing walls of bubbles to cut off their escape route. Eventually, they succeed in splitting a small group away from the main shoal. A bait ball. Surrounded by predators, the 20-meter ball of sardines turns itself inside out. as the sharks enter the melee. There's only one place left to run. In a final bid for escape, the sardines head towards the surface, only to come within range of the gannets, who launch a precision aerial strike. From 30 meters, they arrow down at 100 kilometers an hour to snatch sardines from 10 meters below the surface. In less than 20 minutes, the bait ball will be wiped out. In the weeks ahead, the sardines will lose many battles like this, but ultimately they will triumph. Their vast numbers guarantee that enough will survive to continue their dramatic cycle of life. A strategy that ensures the survival of many, but for these unlucky few, it's game over.